following event is a professional wrestling exhibition performed by professionally trained athletes. Do not try this at home.
Welcome Uprisers, this is Lloyd Sorrell from UPW Pro Wrestling. We're going to have a special edition of Uprising. And I'm here with Brian Marks from the Pro Wrestling World.
Yeah.
So just go back and forth again.
Sorry.
So why don't we get started where we had left off? So tell me about Mania 2 that you were at and talk about Josh. I think that's a great story.
Yeah, I attended the first Marquette Mania and the second one. Each time I attend a UPW event in general, I try to bring different people to it because I'd like to try to expose them in general.
Appreciate it.
To each event so they can try to end up liking and loving it like I do. So, and each Marquette Mania, in case anybody that hasn't been there, I think it's gotten bigger each time, right?
Yeah, it's the last two shows. Well, it's only been on twice, but
Yeah.
the two shows have been comparable sizes, but we've tweaked the way we've done
Right.
it. So I think it improved, and we got even bigger ideas for next time. We're starting our planning.
Yeah, and I think like you said, it improved from the first one to the second one.
Yeah. Well, we moved to the other side of the ice
Right.
arena, so it had the bleachers, and it had we were able to do the cool stuff where like we had Ken Anderson's mic come down. We wouldn't have been able to do that on the other side.
Also, it was a lot warmer. Also,
And a lot warmer.
Yes, it was.
So just to give him some props, I think you said you brought your brother or a friend
Yes.
to the second one.
Right. I think the first one I brought 3 brothers to it, and the second one I brought one of my brothers and an old friend to it, Adam Deloria. Shout out to him. And and it turned out an old friend of his is actually the ring announcer, whose name's
Josh Reenish.
Yes, so he was surprised about that too. So
Did he approach him during the day?
he approached him before the event. So
Excellent.
And then as we were watching it, the Battle Royal, he was watching and he said, "Hold on." He said, "I used to work at Pizza Hut with one of the entrants to the Battle Royal."
No kidding.
Yeah, so.
Small world.
Yep, so.
That's great. Have you gone to other UPW events?
Yeah, I went to the Halloween one, I think it was.
Okay, Iron Mountain?
Yes, actually the 2 I've been to were Iron Mountain both.
Okay.
So.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we just had that show this past weekend, which was a blast. And maybe we just get that out on the table, because that's why you really reached out to us, was because that was our Adrenaline, Summer Sizzler Adrenaline. And we had our promotion where we promoted Zilla Fatu being at the show. And the public statement from UPW is we booked him, we paid our deposit, we set up the plane fees or the plane itineraries. My wife actually does all the travel agency. She's behind the camera. And he was in SummerSlam, and
Just in attendance.
yeah, because he had a show Friday night for GCW, Game Changer Wrestling, which he attended, and then he was to fly to Appleton, Wisconsin for
Right.
us, which the GCW promoter booked, and then we were going to pick him up, take him to Iron Mountain, bring him back, and then he was going to get on a flight in Appleton Sunday morning and fly to Newark, because he was doing a GCW show for them on Sunday.
Right.
And yeah, SummerSlam was in Cleveland, where he was Friday night. As it turns out, his flight from Cleveland to O'Hare was delayed, which delayed his flight from O'Hare to Appleton, and then ultimately that flight got canceled. But we knew about that Friday night, actually close to midnight Friday night. So I got on the phone with his rep, and we booked a flight to Marquette for Saturday morning, all on our expense. and he didn't get on the flight. So the show goes on. I think we had an awesome show on Saturday night in Iron Mountain, and fans walked up to me. Sure, there was some people that disappointed they couldn't do the meet and greet. Fans walked up to me and said, "You didn't need it. It was a great show." I've spoken to his rep probably for the 3 weeks leading up to the event, and I spoke to him just this morning. And I think he's a great guy. I respect the guy. I feel like he's been a straight shooter with me. We're gonna work on a refund of the deposit. I haven't gotten it back yet, but he was committed to me that we're gonna get it. And we've already gotten refunds for the flights that were not used. So, we're out a little bit of money, a hotel room. It was probably more an ego hit than anything else. But it really showed that we as an organization were able to quickly get our booking committee together on Saturday morning and come up with changes to the card because Zilla wasn't going to be there, and put on a show. And I think the locker room was motivated to put on a great show because they felt like he was supposed to be there, and they're going to kick it for the fans. And maybe they felt a little disrespected. I know I did.
As they should.
And they wanted to make sure the fans knew that they were there for them. And I think it went wonderful.
And from everything I've read, they say it did. So
Good.
And and the thing to throw out there is, and a lot of fans will say, because there are independent promoters that, and it was questioned, they'll say, was it ghost booking?
Yeah.
And they will say that because some promoters will say, okay, this wrestler is coming in to wrestle for us, whether it be a big name or a veteran or an up-and-comer. They'll say this person's coming in because they want to get the tickets sold.
Right.
And then they'll say, oh, they didn't show up for this or that reason.
Yeah.
And they
Like
say,
the posters always say, card subject to change.
right.
Yeah, and it's clear in this situation. Well, first off, as a professional, I spent 30 plus years in the business world. 20 years, my last 20 years in the C-suite of an insurance company. So when I got into running the organization, I wanted to run it professionally because there are a lot of independent promoters who probably shouldn't be running a business.
Right.
So I wanted to instill that in this organization, and I think we continue to tweak and do just that. And the guys that are on my management team, Randy, Pete, Bill, and Steve. Steve's our production guy. They comment about, they see it.
Oh yeah.
So that makes me feel good. But with Zilla in particular, we did a promo where Sin, who he was going to face, did a promo.
Story time about smoke. WWE, the Holy Grail. The first time I work Extra Talent, I get a chance to dance, I assume, with Umaga. But Johnny Ace tells me, kids, y'all look too much alike. The match gets pulled from me. I get to do Extra Talent. That story's over. This story begins. Let's just say we're two ships passing in the night. We pass by. Two different directions. One's headed to the dock to be put out to pasture. That's me. You're headed to the destiny, to the greatness, to the promised land. We know where you're going. We know what you represent. We know what you're going to do and how good you're going to be at doing it. The point to my story is to leave paint on you. So when you get there, you never forget who I am and what I do. Because what I do is this too. My blood is this line of this business. It's just not yours. August 3rd, Iron Mountain, Michigan, you're special to me. I'm the American champion, and I'm leaving that way too. So, Zilla Fatu, Godzilla, meet King Kong, because I'm the mother coming for you.
And Zilla did a
He did a
promo
video,
back,
yeah.
and it was well done. Now his rep helped with the production of it, and he really put it together. But that shows he knew he was coming.
Sin, the UPW American champ. To be honest, I don't know who you are. You say my dad was supposed to be your first match. All this, you try to bring this family versus family feud into it. But look though, I'm nothing like my other family. I'm nothing like them, Moose. I'm Zilla, the main one. August 3rd, I'm there. I accept the challenge. And Oos, I'm not King Kong. Alright?
Yeah.
And he was liking our posts, sharing our posts. We've been, I'll say, lucky. All the name talent that we brought in, it's been 3 years since we had someone ghost us, and that was just incredible back in the day when the Max in Iron Mountain was in its prior location. So we've been pretty good in guys fulfilling their commitments, whether they were paid a deposit or not.
And I think I have my opinions why he didn't show up there, because there was a heavy storyline in WWE right now with his family name.
Right.
And he wanted to be there for, to see his name and see his face at that event.
Yeah,
so I have my opinions about it, but
I feel the same way.
Yeah.
To me, it's conjecture.
Right.
I've never spoken to the
Right.
kid before, and he's only 24 years old.
Right.
I've never spoken to the kid. I've only spoken to his rep. So, do I harbor ill will towards him? I don't. I don't think we as an organization don't. We wish it was different.
And I hope you get your deposit back. I do.
Yeah, and I'll follow up when that happens. But he's going to be appearing in Chicago in August in 2 different venues.
Yeah.
One is like the 18th or the 19th. The other one's the 31st.
Time will tell.
So I plan on, if I'm in town, I plan on stopping down there. I'd like to introduce myself to the guy and have a conversation. He might not want to, he might not care, but it'll be me being able to say, dude, there's ramifications to your actions. Not only to the promoter, the promotion, the locker room, the fans, most importantly, and you got to worry about that for your reputation.
Right.
So that's the way it went.
And that's what I said. There was always that perception of ghost booking, and you guys didn't do it. So
Again, it's important to run a professional organization. You got to be able to look your workers and your fans in the eye, and they need to be able to trust you. We need to trust each other.
And you guys have had a long history, UPW itself. So
yeah, the organization's been around 25 years.
Right.
We just had our 25-year anniversary in February, and it was mostly Escanaba. So we did a show in Escanaba.
Delft?
The Delft was where we used to run. When we were, the Delft is still there, but it's not really in shape to run.
No, I was just in the building itself a couple months ago, actually. Inside of it, no, you can't.
So we were able to, we got a recommendation from Sampson, our champion, about the Chamber of Commerce.
Right.
So the Delta County Chamber of Commerce is where we ran it. So we were able to, we sold it out. It was 200 plus people that were there, and it has a high ceiling, so we were able to bring in our high ring, and we had a good match, good card.
Because you've had some long-running wrestlers too, Peter
Be Beautiful.
Yep.
And a couple other guys from the old Escanaba days came. So Brett Powers was there, Slick Rick was there, but Judge Jesse's been with us. I wrestled back in the Delft back in the day, so that's how I know Pete and Romeo and Brett, Rick, Jesse. So yeah, there's a lot of us who've hung around. We're going back to Escanaba in our October show on October 5th.
And I seen something about that, so you're going to start expanding more.
Yeah, so we are going to have a couple of, our intention is a couple of shows a year in Escanaba. We're hoping to have a couple of shows a year in Marquette, not just Marquette Mania, but at least one, maybe 2 others. On our way down to Chicago from Iron Mountain this last weekend, we stopped into a little town in Wisconsin, St. Ignacians, I think is how it's pronounced. It's about 45 minutes south of Green Bay. Looked at a venue there that one of our workers recommended, BJ Allen recommended. And now that Keely and I are moving up here, there's opportunity to start looking at other towns. So as Uprising is going on Fox UP in September, we're hoping that a lot of the towns between West Side and Central, because I don't think Fox UP covers Chippewa County, which is the Sioux, or where St. Ignace is, just over the bridge. But we want to hit everyone else and start broadening our audience,
Yeah.
and we got to get out to where the people are. So that's our hope.
Yeah.
So you've been to a couple of shows. What do you think we've done well? What do you think we can improve upon? What have you seen us improve upon?
I think it's a show. I think that a whole family can go to, for one.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a good family environment,
Great.
and I think that every match there's something for everybody. I really do, especially for a wrestling fan.
Uh-huh.
You have something for everybody, whether it's the hardcore fan, the old school fan, technical fan, something for everybody, and also for whether it's, say, like you say, the Attitude Era.
Uh-huh.
You got Ken Anderson, like the veterans.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I even seen a show where a couple years back there was Tommy Wildfire Rich.
Yeah, that was last year.
It was last year. So, the old NWA days.
Uh-huh.
And you got the newer guys coming up. So there's something for everybody. And, I think every show I see in Iron Mountain, there's the repeat customers also. I always see a certain group of kids that are always there, the Samson kids. They always want to see Samson.
We do have a core group of guys.
You really do, the core group.
We have the folks that love rooting for the heels.
Yep.
And against Samson,
Yep.
and then we have the opposite side of that, and you're right on. And I'm glad you commented what you did, because Wildfire Ridge was a blast.
Right.
Part of why I enjoy the shows is being able to meet these guys that I watched as a kid also, and see them in the ring and to ride with them back and forth and have a couple of beers with them and so forth. Rich was great. The Rock and Roll Express, more NWA guys, they were a good time. Robert Gibson in particular. But we've done everyone.
And as I said, I think you brought in a good blend for, like I said, for every fan that could possibly want to come and see a show. And as I said, and you can bring your kids to the show, and maybe your grandma, if she used to watch wrestling, she can come and watch the show.
The proverbial grandma on the front row.
Yeah, so.
For our September show, we have Mikey from the Spirit Squad.
Oh my.
Coming up. And he now wrestles as Mike Mondo.
Yes, he does. Yep,
He's
right.
really worked on his body, and he's chiseled, but he's going to do a little of both. So that's going to be fun. He comes up from, it's either Tampa or Orlando. It's somewhere in Florida. I don't remember. We made the flights, but I don't remember. So we're looking forward to that show. And then, October is going to be fun as well. We're really building towards that. We're going to have to tweak a little bit, because some of the plans that we had, we're going to have to redo, because we had thoughts of Zilla as a double shot. And now that's not going to happen.
Right.
It's the Einstein comment about what makes you think it's going to be any different the second time.
Yeah.
So it's exciting for us.
Right, and it really is. And as I said, it's a good time, and I think anybody should try, and affordable.
Oh, good.
And it is affordable.
Good to hear.
Yeah, so.
We are going to tweak the cost of our next Marquette Mania.
Oh, you have to.
Yeah, they have all those bleachers. We want to get more butts in those bleachers,
Right.
so we'll probably have even a bottom dollar if
Right.
we're putting more people up in there.
And like I said, the Iron Mountain shows, to take your 2, 3 of your kids, it is affordable.
Yeah, especially if you get general admission seats.
Yeah.
It's $15 a pop.
I can take my kids. I'm here in Manistee. I can travel an hour and a half to Iron Mountain, and it's a good time.
So let me put you on the spot, though, and say, what can we do better?
The Max Entertainment Center is proud to be the UPW's northern home. With flying, flipping, and slams galore, it's the best in the Midwest. Check out all of the upcoming concerts, comedy shows, and events on Facebook at the Max Entertainment Center. Iron Mountain, the UPW rocks!
The one thing I've noticed, like when you buy tickets,
Do you buy them online?
I buy them online. Which
Easy or?
it's easy to me. It's easy enough. I don't know about older people than me or not. Some people are technically, I don't want to say dumb. It's challenged. Let's say that.
There's a couple of guys that come up to me and they will not buy it online.
See, and some people are like that. So to me, it's easy. But like if I take a group of 4 or 5 people and I buy tickets, when you get there,
The seats.
it's
Can you get seats together?
together.
Yeah.
That's a hard one.
Yeah, so we've talked about that.
But how you
recently.
do it logistically, I don't know, but
I totally buy into what you're saying, and what we probably need to do is for the first and second rows, we know who purchased them.
yeah.
So we're gonna have to, put tape on the seats and say this is for person A, these 3
Yeah,
seats,
'cause-
person B.
Because I have been in a crowd, and I've seen where people get a little touchy when they get there, and they're
Yeah.
like, "But I'm with these people. How am I going to sit with these?" And I've seen a couple arguments almost
Yeah.
kind of start, and it's like,
And we had to diffuse a little bit of that.
Yeah.
But that's great feedback. I've heard that before, and we do need to act on it.
yeah. And the only other thing that I've run into was the first Marquette Mania, how you have the lighting on the high rise
Uh-huh.
when, like with our seating, like when, what's his name? Jeez, why can't I think of his name? But when he went up to jump off on
Fulton?
Madman Fulton, and those lights started flashing,
Yeah.
when you were looking at him, it just blinded you. It kind of took away from the match because you couldn't see. Because it was
Just
pumping.
imagine if you were him.
Yeah, I know, I thought about that, how dangerous that might have been for him. But
Yeah, so we ended up we used the same video, audio people for the 2 Marquette Manias, and we're going to continue to use them. They're great to work with. It's an organization called Double Trouble
yeah,
out of Marquette. So when we came back to them and said, this is what we want to do for the second one, what we liked, what we didn't like, one of the things we said is, watch with the strobes.
right, that's what it was the strobes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
So we noticed that, and actually Fulton commented about it.
I
He's
bet he
like,
did, because-
he was nervous when he was coming whether he was going to be able to land appropriately.
And I thought he almost didn't at first. But yeah, because even as a fan, when we were looking, it was multiple matches. When we were looking, it was like boop, 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 boop. We were
Yeah.
like, holy man.
And you might have noticed in the second one they moved the stanchions back off
They
of
did.
the ring.
Yep, I noticed
so
that.
I think that worked better.
Because
too.
I noticed when he went up that first and the second one, he was like, eh.
That was a tease.
Yeah. So yeah.
Had you seen him before?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not live, but I seen him,
We've had him now 4 times between Mania 1
He's a
and
great
Mania 2.
performer. I love watching
Fantastic.
him. He's a great performer.
And he does some movies now he's getting into.
Yeah.
And Tully Bertarelli, who has worked for us the last couple of
Yeah.
shows, is in TV and movies as well, so it's kind of fun.
We should do something. Go somewhere.
Don't do it. Don't go. It's going to be very dangerous for you.
Hey, I overheard y'all trying to get away or something, right?
All right, guys, what do you think? 3 Feathers Lodge? Here we go.
Oh my gosh, look at this. Let's take pictures.
Hey, you coming?
Yeah.
911, what's your emergency?
I've been to a ton of independents down through Oklahoma, Texas, all over the place,
Fantastic.
honestly. So I used to help out with. It doesn't exist anymore. It used to be called Impact Zone Wrestling out of Oklahoma,
Okay.
and I used to help them a lot. So
So let me ask you about Pro Wrestling World. What is it? What's your game plan?
well, their main focus is Facebook, but honestly, when I got into it, it was through Facebook. because I was actually against their Facebook group because they were so bait click. And I despised it. The bait clicking they did, I just hated it because, and there was a lot of like body shaming of wrestlers. And,
oh, really?
Yeah. And
so it was more the negative side of
things. It was
the
negative side of things, and it was a lot of false articles and a lot of tribalism per se of the companies and this and that.
So what's your role with the organization?
With the pro wrestling world right now, I'm a contributor of the articles on the, I hate to say X.
On Twitter, yeah.
Yeah, I hate to say X. I can't stand the name of it, but it drives me crazy. I'm one of the main contributors on there, and they're trying to get on the podcast side, but I don't know if I have the time for it, honestly. But we're trying to actually revamp the Twitter side of it. Because a lot of people don't contribute a lot. They just want to say they're part of it and say, hey, I'm a wrestling contributor on but yeah, and I'm actually trying to get my part of it be the main focus on the independents and on the smaller organizations.
And let
to be
other
my
guys
part
do
of
the AEW,
everybody wants
TNA,
to cover
WWE, NXT.
Yeah, they all want to cover that part of it. So I'm kind of trying to cover the smaller portions of it.
And I would think in the indies you can have a more personal relationship
You can.
with those guys.
You know, even MLW doesn't even get covered that much. Major League Wrestling, they don't even cover that much, and they're kind of bigger as far as things go.
Yeah, we just had Matt Winchester, Beer City Bruiser, up 2
yeah,
shows ago.
I actually wanted to see Beer City Bruiser, but I didn't get a chance.
He's a good guy.
Yeah.
I knew him for a while because he grew up in Wisconsin. So
Yeah.
when he first cut his teeth,
Yep.
I knew him then. But then he went and trained with Harley Race and worked for ROH. And
Yeah,
he's a great.
So
guy.
I fought these guys on their page, on their Facebook page, constantly. I was like, guys, and they were like, dude. Then they said, does anybody want to join our Twitter side of it? And he's like, you know what, I'll do it.
Fantastic.
So I said, I'll go on that side of it. And now we're trying to rebuild that part of it. So I was
That's
like,
a good deal.
I said, instead of fighting you, I'll join you on this side of it. And we don't do any bait clicks. We report straight news. We report results too. And we were, like I just was reporting MLW's upcoming YouTube this Saturday.
Okay.
Their YouTube show they're going to be having. So I've been promoting that. I'm like, Paul Walterhauser, the actor, he's going to be facing Tom Lawler this Saturday on blah, blah, blah.
Dirty Tom Lawler.
Yeah.
I don't know about a UFC guy that becomes a wrestler, how he separates the two.
I don't know either. So I report all, and like I try to do the independents. I'm like, there's an independent show coming up this night, and here's who's fighting. And so yeah.
Well, I'll see you at the shows, and if you're not there, I'll shoot you what the results are.
Yeah, you can do it anytime, and I try to promote everybody.
That's great.
I really do.
Yeah, I'd love to continue to keep in touch.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a relationship game, right?
Yeah, that's all it is. Because everybody wants to get promotion, and everybody wants, hey, here's my product.
Right.
And it really is.
Well, I appreciate it.
It's no problem. That's it. I've talked to Peter a few times online, and when I first started getting into this, but just even when I was trying to find wrestling to watch. I didn't even know you guys were wrestling here for a long time, and then I started looking at social media because Peter's always on social media.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, he runs. Peter and Steve run our socials, which is predominantly Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah. So as I said, I talked to him a few times online, and that's when I started finding you guys around the area.
Yeah, that's wonderful, and I greatly appreciate the feedback.
Yeah, and that's what I said, and I figured, and then I seen about the Zilla thing, and I was like, hold on, wait a minute. I said, I got to find out about this too. So.
Yeah, thanks for the outreach.
Yeah, so it was always good to have connections.
Exactly. Well, I'm going to cut it here. Thanks, Brian.
No problem.
And Stryker and Jesse will be back for their usual uprising for the following weeks. And be sure to come in and listen. Thanks to Brian Marks from the Pro Wrestling World. Great speaking to you.
You too.